Hey, it's Chris. Thanks for joining us on today's podcast. I'm joined by our tamed golf pro, Dick Fats. Dick, it's been a while since I've called you that.
It is. Yeah. I got something for you. Hang on a sec. Let me see if I can do it.
A little background. I like that. Perfect.
I swear I want to get one of my car.
It'd be funny is to put that on a golf cart, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I did see a golf cart the other day that had like 30 subwoofers. It had them up against the roof, and it had a back deal where you put the clubs, it would raise back, and it had like 20 subwoofers on the back. Clearly not.
Where did
not
you
for
see
golf.
this at? This was at the Hyatt?
No. It wasn't something. It was something online. But I was like, man, I want just a couple of subwoofers.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, you can get those portable speakers now that have got some bass in them. So I mean, that kind of sparked the idea as that I want to get a subwoofer in my golf cart now.
So a little history on the Dick Fats name. We used to go play pool after work when we worked at the golf course, and Dick is short for Richard, I guess. Is that right?
If you want to get punched.
So anyway, we would go play pool, and Rich would hit the balls so hard there was like no finesse at all. It was just a pure power game.
So
he was trying to he was playing slop, and we didn't play slop.
And that's the way we play in Australia. You play slops, and if a ball goes in and it's yours, you don't have to call it. It's still good. But there are penalties for hitting your opponent's ball first. They get 2 shots, or if you hit their ball in, they get 2 shots. So yeah, we play slops, but there are more penalties if you hit someone else's ball.
Got you.
So the benefit is to just hit it as hard as you can, and hopefully something goes in. Problem is, over here you have to call your pockets, so it's a little bit difficult to do.
Well, I mean, we really had some really good pool players back at that time, and it was hard to ever win a match. And you just kind of got that nickname back then. I always thought it was pretty good nickname.
But isn't it from some snooker player or pool player?
There was a guy named Minnesota Fats
back
in the day, and he was an amazing, famous pool player. They even made a movie about him with Paul Newman, The Hustler, I think it was called. Really good movie. And I think Jackie Gleason was the guy that played it, who was also, I think, a scratch golfer, Jackie Gleason. Awesome pool player, fantastic actor, all-around athlete. And just so you know, he starred in The Honeymooners. You know none of this, do you, Rich?
I don't know.
You don't even know what I'm talking about. Jackie Gleason was the star in The Honeymooners, and eventually was the basis for the Flintstones cartoon. So Fred Flintstone is based on Jackie Gleason's character in The Honeymooners. So there you go. Some factoids for you. And I don't know if they're true or not.
That's all I need. That's all I need.
I can go all day with this soundboard.
So we've got like a really rudimentary soundboard that we're doing. So I want you to tell me, Rich, how I measure my golf game. Do you have that one on your soundboard?
God.
Because I'm a tall guy. Do you have that on your soundboard?
I don't think I have it.
It's got to be on there. Isn't there a page 2 on that soundboard? And we need to get this better. We need to have a more professional podcast with a good soundboard.
Yeah. I mean, I could hit these all day.
So I have a picture of you with the soup hat. So we've just rambled on this morning. So Rich, why don't you kind of tell us what this podcast is all about?
Yeah, I wanted to cover today. I mean, if you look at when you go to the range versus how you go and play, what's the missing component? And the key is usually is we try to replicate what we do on the golf course on the driving range, but it doesn't often transfer over back and forth. And so I think I did the tap-in challenge assessment the other day, and it just got me thinking that the assessment itself creates that, not necessarily nerves, but a sense of urgency that I want to do well. And that's what I feel when I'm on the golf course. So when you're on the driving range or the chipping clock or putting green and you're just practicing, there's no recourse for missing a putt or missing a shot or anything. So, but when we get to the golf course, there is. So how do we go back and forth and try and replicate that on the practice to try and mimic what we do on the golf course? So I was telling you earlier, I was like, if we had golfers just do assessments only, that was their entire practice regimen, was just the assessment for power and distance, which is yardages for every club. So you're dialing in distances. The red zone challenge is a 50, 75, and 100 yard assessment test. We've got the no more 3 putts challenge, which is a 5 and 10 foot drill. And then
I think that's the toughest of them all.
Well, I mean, really, it should be
based on a green. But if you have a really difficult green, I think that's the toughest challenge.
And it really should be something that it should be in your pre-round warm-up. 5 and 10 footers and a drawback game. And the drawback game really is what I love using, especially on a new golf course, because I can play 9 to 18 holes on the putting green and get the speed dialed in. Because really, that's when you go to play a golf course, what's often at a new golf course, what's often the thing that's lacking is knowing the speed of the greens. So you can dial that in.
That's my excuse.
Yeah, I mean, that really is. Think about it. When you have a 3 putt, what's happened? The first putt you've either left way short or you've blasted it past because of your speed.
Well, when we went to we went on our golf trip, we were playing a different golf course every day, and they were all different. Some had bent greens, some had Bermuda, some had what's that California?
The
Cucaracha, whatever grass. And yeah, Poana grass. And sometimes that was mixed with something else because they said, oh yeah, this green's 75% bent grass and 25% Poana, but I think it was probably opposite. That was Aviara, which is really nice.
Yeah, so the drawback game is perfect for speed. And then we've got now the tap-in challenge. You've got the 3 challenges within that assessment. You got the 3-hole challenge. You've got from 10, 20, and 30 yards. You've got the up and down challenge. So you're basically hitting a chip and you're actually putting it out. And then you have your medium test to get an idea of, out of 18 balls, what's that medium distance that you're most likely going to have on the golf course. So if you were all you did for the next month was to just do the assessment tests, I guarantee that you'll get better because it's going to create that urgency. With power and distance, the assessment, you're going to know your distances with your clubs, and that's critical. So each segment creates that, I wouldn't say pressure because it's there. I mean, it's
pressure because you're competing and it's really gets down to your human nature because every golfer is competitive. I don't care if they play by themselves or they go out in a big group every weekend. They're competitive. They either want to beat themselves or they want to beat their friends. But when you do these initial assessments, you're trying hard. So it's pretty cool when you get to the final assessment,
that's the
where from 4 to 6 weeks later, and you're like crushing what you did the first time, you see that progress.
Yeah.
But the thing is that trying to beat yourself or beat your scores creates pressure.
Yeah. And that's the same. So that's what I'm trying to say with this is that we're trying to create what you get on the golf course. So if you miss a shot,
more of that horn. Can you play that horn again real quick? I like that. So So after you say something that you think's a really good idea, you play that horn.
So,
But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying about the pressure and practicing under pressure and these challenges, and kind of want to back up a little bit and say, if you did nothing but these challenges in your practice routine, you're going to get better over a period of time. However, when you couple that with the challenges that we have that are just so basic, they just break down everything into the just bite-sized, easy-to-use chunks that you can take and translate to the course. But it's the focus that you're putting in on these little tiny parts. So at the final, whenever you get to the end, your technique is better, your understanding of what you're trying to accomplish is better, and it really, really brings in confidence. It builds your confidence over that period of time, which I think is extremely important with dealing with pressure.
Yeah. I mean, each of the challenges, I'm not saying that, just this does us away from our challenges, because the challenges, what they instill is a practice with a purpose. So if we can give you a regimen to do that's simple, but yet effective, that's where you see the results come from. So it's easy to see golfers that go on the yo-yo run is they will put in some effort, they'll create a plan, they'll work on it, and then either they've achieved it or they haven't, and then they give up on it or they go away from it. So this is the continual benefit of being as part of the membership group, is that you can go from one challenge to the next and never be done with or go away from having a practice with a purpose method. So because that's really what it comes down to. You see the results when you're continually keeping with a plan. So if I was to drop away from a plan on my workouts, I would see my weight go up. It's the same principle from a weight aspect and working out aspect to golf. If I don't continually have a plan to, work on my chipping or my putting or, hitting a fade or a draw with my irons, it's just not going to be there when you need it. And I think the
challenges remove the overwhelm feeling that golfers have with not knowing what to do, because we give them the daily checklist and they go out. They know exactly what to do, and it's not overkill. It takes 15, 20 minutes of practice per day at the most.
I mean, you could, and essentially if you could combine challenges because they're so short.
Which we're going to need to do, Rich, at the end of this month of September, because we have had a vote and you're about to reveal the winner. We, if you're not a member, you probably don't know this, but we run a survey inside of our members area in our also our Facebook mastermind coaching group, where the members can pick their next challenge. Now we're coming up on the holidays, so we're going to start this next challenge October 1st. So it's going to kind of overlap with the tap in, but it's going to be fine because in the tap in, we didn't have any workout plans. So I think from that aspect, it's just going to be, you're going to move from the driving range to the chipping green.
Yeah, and it'll only be a week or two.
Session. Yeah, and it's only going to be for a week or two.
Yeah, so October 1st, we'll launch Power and Distance Challenge. That came out ahead on the votes. So that'll be the next challenge as a group. So yeah, that's the beauty of our membership, is they can do whatever they want anytime. But we do see benefits when people come together as a group. So
that's going to take us through to the week before Thanksgiving, right?
So it should be about 6 to 8 weeks. And so, so that'll be about then. And then we'll roll into the revised Flat Belly Challenge that we're going to rename and basically be the off-season challenge.
Yeah, we're going to make some major improvements to that. I was very happy with those workouts. in there, and I think they're really good for dealing with the holidays. So I don't know what we're going to call it, but if you have any ideas, just give us
Wasn't it the
a
OPP?
shout.
You know me, the OPP. Was it off season?
I don't remember.
What I didn't remember.
I did call it OPP.
Yeah.
And I started listening to that song that I don't think they repeat the lyrics in it. I'm down with OPP at all. And there's probably like 10,000 words in that song, which is pretty amazing. It was funny. I went to a piano bar a couple years ago, and I wrote down OPP as a song, and then you give a tip to the piano player, and I gave him a $20 bill because I was certain this would get his attention, number one, because everybody's giving him $5 tip, write down your song. So I was like, I'm gonna give this dude $20 to play OPP, and nobody thought he was gonna play it. This cat starts busting it out, knew every word to it, and he's playing it on the piano, and they got like the guitar guy, and it was amazing. It was hilarious. I wish I would have caught that on video.
Is that one of those dueling piano bars? We have one of those.
It was actually, and it was fantastic. It was so fun. Yeah, I've not been back in a while. I need to go back.
Yeah, they have one at the condo in Sandestin. It's the Rum Runners. And it has dueling pianos, and you can send your request in, and you're exactly right. You throw a 20 with your request, and it's going to get played. They're going to figure it out.
I think I had them play Sandman by Metallica, and then OPP. And the OPP was like, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe that he pulled it off.
It was off-season
practice or performance program.
Yeah, I think that's what it stands for. Yeah,
it's like a communist training program.
Yeah, and so that'll be over. That'll be over the holiday period, so winter period for if you're in the U.S. mostly.
And we might take the month of December, and I don't know if we're going to take it off, but that's a pretty busy time frame for people. So I don't know how we're going to work that. We might just put that up to another vote if they want to go ahead and start rolling on December 1st, because they'll have all that turkey fat to burn off. And then maybe we could do, I don't know what we'll do, but we'll figure out something to keep everybody rolling through the holidays, because it's like, man, the holidays, they just wreck your body. They wreck your golf game. Luckily, most people in the United States, it's not so cold all winter. They can still get out and practice every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then we got those Aussies right now. It's summertime, or getting ready to be summertime, isn't it?
Sure is, yeah. So they don't need to go into the OPP.
It doesn't get cold anywhere down there like it does here, does it?
It does. It does.
They get snow?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah. You can get it down in the Snowy Mountain, or the in Victoria.
Does it snow in Melbourne?
In actual Melbourne, I don't know.
Because I've seen, like, when I watch the Formula One race, I see palm trees down there. It looks like San Francisco.
You're in February. It's the summer.
It looks like San Francisco, though, type weather.
I mean, it's horrible weather down there. They have 4 seasons in one day in Melbourne.
What about Perth? Because we have a member out in Perth.
Yeah, Perth is nice. Yeah. I mean, it still gets cold in the wintertime, but I mean, it's nice. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out. I think that's one of the benefits of the membership is, we're constantly improving it, tweaking it, making updates to it. And the off-season program is going to be pretty good. And we're going to have drills. So if you are trapped inside and you can't go out, we'll have drills so you can keep your game somewhat fresh. I think the greasing the groove is like, what do we have? We've got everything in there now.
Yeah.
So there's really no excuse to come in and be super rusty.
So and so another thing we launched this week was the tap in challenge leaderboards, and normally we just have one leaderboard. We kind of combine the challenges to give you your total score. This one's a little bit different because we've got 3 unique and challenges within the assessment, and I really couldn't combine them. So basically we're going to run 3 leaderboards. And so for the 3-hole challenge, where there's you got a 10-yard, 20-yard, and 30-yard pitch shot, and you're keeping score from, what are we hitting, 6 balls to each target. If you get it in the hole, you get 4 points. Within 1 club, it's 3 points. Within 2 clubs, it's 2 points, I think. And then 3 clubs, it's 1 point.
Dog attack going on out here, Rich.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, you hear
is that Kyle? Kyle the Chihuahua?
Yeah, he's out there doing something. Damn dog.
Kyle hates me.
I think he actually likes you, doesn't he?
No, he hates me.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll get it figured out for this. I mean, we've got to figure out some kind of an overall way of judging the winner on that. I guess we could base it on.
We'll see, because I mean, we could say, like,
if you win this category, we could just score it based on your position for each one, and then the guy with the lowest overall total is the.
It could also be, what your position is on each of the leaderboards.
Oh, which reminds me, we're giving away a customized wedge this go around.
Yeah, and it'll be adjustable. So you can switch it to 60 degrees. You can adjust it to 52, 54. It's pretty cool. I'm just kidding.
What? I was like, what are you talking about?
Just one wedge, adjustable for all.
What we'll do is we'll let you pick. I think there's a couple of different places that let you customize a wedge, and you can get your own like little logo or stamps on it or something.
Yeah,
so it'll be cool. We gave away a Scotty Cameron to Mika in Finland, I think, and he got it, but they shipped him the wrong one.
I think they sent him my specs. Was it like 32, 33 inches? That's perfect.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Send it back to me.
and the totally the wrong putter. He wanted the Scotty Cameron Select 2, and they sent him the 2.5, and I don't know the difference. Do you, Rich? Is there any difference on those two?
Slightly. I mean, they're pretty much.
What is the difference? Do you know?
I think one has a line and one doesn't. I'm not real sure.
I like the line.
Yeah.
I think I used the 2. Father Flatstick, he's never, ever leaving my bag.
You've lost that monkey. I stole it.
I don't think so, Rich.
Yeah.
Because whenever we play, I'm the one draining the long putts.
Of
course, I have a lot longer to go on the green because you hit it closer. But I'm money with that putter.
Yeah.
The money man. Floyd Mayweather. Are you going to watch that fight, Rich? Are you going to spend the $60 to make that guy more rich?
That's never going to happen. No, I'm not into the paying for the watching the boxing.
You think boxing's fake?
I don't think it's fake.
You think it's rigged?
That's possible. I mean, but the thing is, these guys are getting paid no matter what. So,
yeah, I mean, they're guaranteed money. So this one guy, he totally lied about having an injury. So if you're betting on this in Vegas and he's got this injury and you don't know about it, you're just giving away your money.
Yeah.
So what did he do? He just stood around and didn't get knocked out.
Yeah, that's like Venus Williams threw the 3rd set in the U.S. Open, so Serena could go on to claim her next title.
Let's be clear, though.
Conspiracy.
Let's be clear, though. Venus had no chance to win that.
Well, she's going to flop it no matter what.
Look at them physically.
That doesn't mean anything. No, she's got.
Hey,
she's not
Serena is like 6'2", 200 pounds.
Look,
and all muscle.
If she was 5-0 in the 3rd, she would have laid down and let Serena just trample over her. She was not going to let Serena lose. Serena was. I don't
know. So you're saying that was a rigged match?
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, they're going to play.
I don't think she had the game to beat her.
There's no doubt that Serena was not going to win.
So this is what it's come to. We're talking about women's tennis
Yeah.
on the golf podcast. Next up, Danica Patrick.
Thing is, I'm not even a fan of the Williams sisters. I don't even know why I brought it up.
Is that thing still going on?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other day, one of the big guys lost. Andy Murray, I think, got beat.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty big upset, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean he's a high seed, but I mean there's still a lot of good players still.
Back to the golf now. The challenge is they do propose a little bit of a different way of practicing, because we really feel like if you're not adding pressure to your practice sessions, you're not really going to be able to make the transition. So you might be able to hit it perfect on the range, but when you get to the golf course, that pressure is going to set in, your breathing is going to change, and you're not going to know how to handle it. And I think we saw that with Tiger Woods, where he was, he's going through all these swing changes. And I mean, you yourself saw him hitting on the range and said, this is like perfection, watching this guy hit these shots. He goes out onto the golf course and it's a different story. And I think what's changed is you're not on a flat surface on the golf course. What are you listening to over there?
I got the soundtrack going.
So you're just playing sounds during the podcast. Okay. So
can you hear that?
Yeah. Totally hear it. So Tiger Woods, I think, was uncomfortable on the golf course, so to speak. And maybe he, wasn't playing enough or whatever. Maybe you don't get to play enough. So a way of combating that is to actually turn your practice into playing and keeping score every single time, because there's something to be said about keeping score. Because whenever you start doing that, it creates competition. You're not out there just hitting balls around. It provides more focus. It provides more fun, I think, when you're actually competing against yourself. You're like, okay, so I played the drawback game last time and I was +3. I'm going to see if I can get it down to even. And, that's the thing, is getting that competition into your practice, which I would say 99% of all golfers don't do. And the big thing for me when my game changed is when I introduced these methods that we use in all of our challenges. So I think we have 4 major challenges right now where we do assessments that are pressure tests, basically.
And look, we're not saying, but there's going to be times when you go to the range and you need to groove a swing. So hitting ball off the ball to do that, that component of it, it's still necessary. But for the most part, when a majority of them go out and just hit a few balls to loosen up, and then they're kind of hitting at a target and then going about their business from there, that's the one where, you can really get a little bit more focused on with doing the assessments on the range.
Yeah, I think people get lost in this perfect swing grooving. And I mean, I wouldn't spend more than 15 minutes on any type of a grooving movement in my full swing, chipping swing, or putting stroke. Because the fact is, when you get out on that golf course, I mean, are you going to be able to have another shot at it? I mean, this isn't Dove Mountain Chris Mulligan Fest where it cost me like $300. If you're playing against your buddies, every shot counts, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be able to step up to that ball and make it happen. What are you laughing about, Rich?
Dove Mountain absolutely destroyed you.
It hurt my confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what I wanted to get at today with the podcast, was that these assessments can create that situation that you have on the golf course, but in the practice environment. Because I mean, it's funny because I actually, when I did the tap in challenge, I wasn't, it's not like I can feel my heart beating, but I got that same sense when I'm on the golf course and I needed to get this up and down, that sense of urgency.
Where I got it was on the 10 footers on the No More Three Putts challenge. When not at the very first few, like you want to make that first one, and that's usually the hardest one to make.
Yeah.
But when you make 6 in a row, 7 in a row, 8 in a row, and then you're like, oh crap, man.
And what I looked at that when if you've made 7 in a row, the 8, 9, and 10, the focus point with those 3 putts is what you're feeling on the golf course. So that's the what you feel in that moment for those 3 putts at the end of that session is what you're feeling on the golf course when you've got that 10-footer for a par save or a birdie or even a bogey save.
Right.
So that's the area that we're trying to focus on. So
that's what we want you to get comfortable with, is being uncomfortable, and it can be done. So I guess what we would say is if you're not a member of the Single Digit Blueprint, then shame on you, because we got all this in there. It's done for you, and it's cheap. It's like $19.96 a month. And you know how we came up with that price, Rich? That's the year Nick Faldo, last one is major.
Perfect.
So there you go.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's exactly why. And I remember
you could also say, isn't it the same year that Greg Norman had his collapse?
I don't like to think about that because in the 80s, I was a huge Greg Norman fan. Still am. I think he is one of the most talented natural golfers there is. Although I've heard Steve Williams talk about, he caddied for Greg Norman. He caddied for Tiger Woods. And in his recent interview, they asked him, so who's the hardest worker? And he said Greg Norman.
Yeah.
The guy would not leave the golf course until he had nailed what he was working on.
See, I mean, I think Tiger's the same way too.
He caddied for both. He said Greg Norman worked harder. And I think the same year, that year that he had the collapse was maybe it was the year after. It was the year that he was the world's #1 golfer, Greg Norman was. And then Tiger Woods, I think, knocked him off and became the world's #1. And then the rest was history for a while there. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right.
The funny thing about that being world #1, I remember a story came out when I was a kid. Greg Norman was world #1, and there was a tournament, I want to say it was in South Australia, that paid him $300,000 to show up. And the thing is, I mean, yeah, he's Australian. He should be supporting Australian events, and he does that, and he has done that later on in his career. But we're looking at, he's world #1. So if it wasn't him, it's someone else, and that same price tag is attached to it. So he came down, got paid $300,000. I want to say he won, and like the winner's check was like $50,000. And so, but now if you
that
look
wouldn't
at,
even pay for gas in his yacht.
Yeah, he sold that yacht. So, so yeah, he's good. But now you look at, if you look at Tiger Woods, when he went down to New Zealand to go play on he wanted to do it for Steve Williams type deal, which was false because the price tag was $2 million US just to show up. I want to
be clear. Tiger Woods doesn't do anything that doesn't benefit Tiger Woods.
Well, I don't blame him. I mean, he's he
does a lot of good stuff. He does a lot of charity work, and he does a lot of, even in that same article is talking about Tiger Woods was helping people out, and he didn't want any credit at all. So
yeah, but I mean,
I'm not going to bet on Tiger.
You look at your Mayweather. I mean, he's getting what, $200 million for this. So,
First of all, Floyd Mayweather and Tiger Woods are two different animals.
But we're talking about payments on athletes. He's getting $200 million. Tiger Woods, best golfer in the world, is getting paid $2 million just to show up. I mean, so I have no problem with it. I mean, there's always
at the Tiger effect. If you have Tiger Woods at your golf tournament, what was this last tournament of the season they had? Would they sell 3 times more tickets than normal, and the TV ratings were way up?
They printed an extra 40,000 tickets and sold them. So
that's a lot of beer sold.
Yeah. So I mean, the Tiger effect is definitely worth it. I'm just saying that's the difference between when Greg Norman was world number 1 and now when Tiger Woods is world number 1.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But Greg Norman, you know what it baffles me is like how big golf is in Australia, and the PGA Tour hasn't done anything to like kind of nurture that, because there's so many Aussies on the PGA Tour. For the most part, they don't want to go to the European Tour. They want to come to the U.S.
The web.com had co-sanctioned events in Australia at one point. I want to say it had 1 or 2 in Australia and 1 in New Zealand. And that's where there was a huge influx of Australian golfers over here on tour because of that, because they could be a member of the PGA of Australia, play in these co-sanctioned events down there, win it, or get enough money to get some sort of status to come over here and play. Gavin Coles was one to come to mind. I remember he won the event in Australia, came over and was able to attain his PGA card that way. So they've kind of gone away from that being in Australia, but the web.com still has events in South America now. So it's still there. It goes through phases.
Let's talk about Reen Gibson now. He owes us a sushi dinner.
That's what you're saying. I have no problem with it.
No, so we pay for him and his beautiful wife to go to dinner and eat sushi. I don't think he was married then. And then that's it. We don't hear from him again. He goes out and becomes the Guinness Book of World Records lowest round of golf ever holder. And he can't even buy us a sushi dinner, Rich.
I wasn't asking for something in return.
I want my sushi.
Well, you need to make a bet and lose again.
I lost sushi in San Diego to you.
Yeah.
So I need sushi.
That cost you a small fortune. But that was a terrible bet on your part. So
I was feeling it, man. Faldo, he's my man. Like I can never, like even my cup, my Faldo cup. It's my coffee cup every day. So anyway, let's get back on topic. We've been rambling around here a little bit. So if you're not a member of the Single Digit Blueprint, you should be. You can get these challenge assessments in there. We call them pressure tests. So they essentially will help you deal with pressure on the course. So it helps with the translation from your practice and grooving your techniques and just the randomness that we find in golf and moving that to the golf course itself. So if you were going to set up your own challenge, Rich, how would you go about doing this?
So, I mean, we've always pushed everyone through each of the challenges to get an idea of how we progress over 4 to 5, 6 weeks. And that's still my recommended path. But once golfers in our membership have gone through all the challenges, it's revising how you practice and how you warm up for a round. And so like the no more 3-putts challenge assessment, that should be part of your pre-round warm-up. If you have a chipping green, the tap-in challenge, those little challenges we have in that assessment should be part of your pre-round warm-up. The power and distance challenge with distances, that should be something that you do at least once a month just to make sure, because if you're working out, those distances are going to change.
That's the thing that we'd probably need to work back into the system is a recalibration of those maybe every 2 to 3 months. Even the weather change, it's really hot, 100 degrees here every day, but today it's like 75.
Yeah. So there should be, distance dialing summer I mean, depends. I mean, where you're at, but I mean, it could be summer and winter. It could be if you got the all 4 seasons, but making sure that you know your distances for each time of the year, but at the same time, making sure that your clubs are staying the same lofts because they will change.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, it's like a hammer. They're not as strong as a hammer. They're delicate, finely tuned pieces of equipment. So, when you throw your club, like I've seen Rich do, changes it a little bit. But just the overall repetition of hitting a ball, especially if you use like a forged club, something that's a little softer, those things are more prone to change than I would say like a tungsten or what are these other alloys they've got going now.
Yeah. So the distance calibration, and then you've got the fourth one is dialing in your wedges, because that's really where you're going to score in. So hitting your 50, 75, and 100-yard shots, getting those dialed in. So
yeah, basically what we're saying here is you need to bring the competition into your game, and you do that by keeping score. And how you set that up, I'm not really sure. That's up to you. But if you want to join the singledigitblueprint.com, go for it. We've already got it in there. But I encourage you to create games and score yourself, and then consistently do that over a set amount of time. And watch. It's really crazy, but just a little tiny bit of focus from your brain on these things, and your score goes down. It's not the randomness. We're getting away from being random, tip of the day golfers, and we're focusing. And it's the real secret ingredient to what we do is focus. If you can focus on a little tiny aspect of your game, make it competitive, your score will go down. So I encourage you to create your own games and your own scoring systems, and put that into your pre-round warm-up, put that into your practice routines, because you're going to lower your score.
Spot on. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Because I mean, really, think about it. Most golfers don't. One, they don't have a pre-round routine, and then two, if they do, how many actually stick to it? Because if you look at the best players in the world, you've seen those videos pop up recently. Jordan Spieth's pre-round warm-up. They basically film him from what he does from when he gets off the parking lot all the way to the first tee, and it's a sequence of events. And this is the same thing he does. Now, he's going to have some things here or there that'll pop up and kind of interrupt it, but there's wiggle room for that. But there's a routine to everything that they do, and it's repetitive. Everything that they do, it's repetitive. It's boring, but it's what makes
effective.
That's it. That's it.
But Butch Harmon.
I know this is right at the last minute of the podcast.
I had this one in my hip pocket. So Butch Harmon is a big believer, and so am I. And this is just a tip for when you're going to go and play. Most people go to the putting green at the very end of their warm-up session, but that makes no sense. What the hell are you doing going to the putting green? What's wrong with you?
I do it both ways. I do first and last. Driver. Hit the club that you're going to hit off the tee.
Exactly.
Yeah, that should be your last shot. But there's also it could be 45-minute window to where you've had your first putt and you've finished your routine. So I'm okay with doing a quick couple of putts just to make sure the speed's still there. But that last shot on the range should be your first shot on the first tee. So if you're hitting a 3-iron off the first tee, the 3-iron should be your last shot.
Well, I mean, you could go 10 minutes before and hit a couple of putts and get a feel for that, but then go straight back and hit the iron that you're going to hit off of the tee and just get comfortable with it. Because I can guarantee you, once you nail that drive down the middle of the fairway, or it's a playable shot, that's going to make your whole round much better, I think. So, this whole podcast, we rambled like we usually do. But the point is practice like you play, make it fun, put some challenges in there. And heck, I mean, even if you do nothing but do challenges for your practice, you're going to get better.
Yeah. That's really what I wanted to say this week. If you were just to be able to go into our members area and download all the assessments, and that's all you did. It's not what we ideally recommend, because most golfers need to progress and get better on certain movements and certain positions and certain ideas and certain systems. But just this alone will get you in the right track with lowering your scores.
Oh, and I get some other news. And based on that, I think we should probably get together, Rich, and create a practice regimen that combines all of these pressure tests together, and also allows for swing grooving and things like that. But I just got back from Austin, Texas, and I went to this. So the Onit Academy, and it's unconventional training. So anyway, what this place is, it's about athletics. And they don't train people specifically for golf or football or, whatever, surfing. They view the body as a machine. So every part of the body has to work properly for chain reaction movements, just how the body moves. Otherwise, it's inefficient. So the whole theory behind what they do is getting your body primed, able to do things, get it strong, but you train it across a myriad of avenues. So for me personally, this is a huge leap forward in our workout programming design. So you're going to see a lot of new stuff coming out that is more athletic based, more based on hitting a golf ball. And we're going to kind of get away from that old school P90X stuff that's just designed to make you sweat and tired. This is going to be a very focused, targeted series of workouts, and it's going to be core to score too. So we're going to be, I just did our first test workout last night, and it was really tough. But what really struck me is the mobility aspects of it were tremendous. And by the time I started my workout, I felt like $1 million. So, and I got a new toy here, Rich. I'm going to bring this. Oh, this is 15 pounds. And this is in the experiment of core to score 2. It's like a bat. It weighs 15 pounds.
It's like a baseball bat.
Yeah, it's called a steel club, and it's for rotational strengthening. So further away from your body it gets, the heavier it gets. So I'm going to experiment with that in this, and those don't cost very much. I think it was like $30. But for golfers, it could be a pretty potent utility in our workout program. So, keep an eye on that. I'll post stuff on Facebook. I put a workout actually up on our mastermind group last night, and Paul Rock, he is like fired up. I think he's done every single workout that I've ever created. Yeah. And if you were to do that from beginning to end, that's like 1.5 years of workouts. So that's pretty good. So you got anything else to add today, Rich?
No, I think that's it. Hang on one sec. I got one more thing.
Sound effect. Rich loves that horn.
I swear I'm getting one installed in the car.
So maybe you should find where to get that and put a link up on the Golf Aggressive Facebook page so others can do this, and we can start annoying people all around the world with that horn.
Love it. Yep, I will. I'll find it. I'm going to spend all day now just searching for that horn.
Rich drives a Ford, so he's going to roll up. It's not a Rolls Royce. He's going to roll up in the Ford He's going to blast that horn.
I bet you we could just get that same Rolls Royce. I mean, those are so cheap now.
$5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, those cars don't hold their value very well. They are nice though. So anyway, that I am Chris, and I was joined by Rich, our tame golf pro. And Rich, play the horn again, and that will be our sign off.